our praise unto Yabashima Shabashim Kodash, the bones unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and our honest brothers to be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Brother, buddy, you're coming out here to give you this truth through the grace and mercy of Yahweh Shabashim Kodash. Giving our praise unto Yabashima Shabashim Kodash. Okay, so this is going to be a relatively quick video based upon this scripture here. I don't want to spend too much time on this particular topic, but effectively, what we've seen throughout the four corners of the earth is the downgrading of the children of Israel, and ultimately, we've far departed from the standard that we're supposed to be on, and we can see that within the book of Lamentations, the 4th chapter, how the scripture speaks about the children of Israel being comparable to fine gold, and now we're comparable to earthen pitchers, and that's greatly exemplified with the women of our nation. Okay, the women of our nation are of a very, very low standard. And part of the problem is, or a major proponent of the problem is a simple lack of discipline. Okay, a lack of discipline from the women of our nation. They're very rebellious. To the end of the scripture says, the woman that is very tender and delicate amongst you, her eye shall be evil towards her husband. Roughly paraphrasing, it might be the other way around, but roughly paraphrasing that scripture, we can see from the Bible that there was going to be tension between the man and the woman amongst the children of Israel. And ultimately, what a man wants to do is to run his household and look after his seed. But in this society, you're at cross purposes. And that's where you got these women out here. They're basically trying to push this twerk, ghetto, black, okay, which, you got Jake that's involved in that too. Most of the men are involved in that too. But really, it's like a young man's game that, okay, when you're into that black culture, most of the time when I see guys that have lived through that particular type of a lifestyle, they really grow out of it after a certain amount of time. But I'm not going to leave them unblamed too. Okay, Jake is through. Okay, both the men and the women. But ultimately, what you see is most men, right, that are matured into men, ultimately leave off for that so-called ghetto black culture lifestyle, and they try to better themselves, and they try to better their situation, namely their family, their sons and daughters. They try to better that particular situation, right? And I've seen it enough times to know, usually when a man has seed, he really matures quite fast, and it's rare that you see a man have seed and not really mature. Okay, that's a guy that's probably got mental issues when a man has seed and he doesn't mature. But I say all of that to say this, okay? The fundamental problem that we got right now is, the women of our nation, they don't respect us. Okay, they don't respect us. And that seems to be a theme that the apostles have been going heavy into through the duration of this week. So I suppose, it's a spirit that got me to do this video. But what do we see with a lack of discipline? What do we see with a lack of discipline? We see with a lack of discipline comes rebellion. We see with a rebellion comes tension. We see with tension comes the downfall of our society. To the end, the scripture says, if the strong man's hands is bound, then ultimately, right, you're able to usurp his household. And that's what's happening in our households. Okay, the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American household. Our households have been usurped. Right, our households has been usurped by our enemy. Right, the Negro woman, predominantly the Negro woman, but the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American women have put themselves in a position where our households have been usurped. Okay, the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American household has been usurped by way of the enemy. So therefore, the scripture frames her as an enemy, because she's what? She's an accessory to this crime that's happened amongst the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and our households are totally through. That's why the scripture says what it says here. She that is mine enemy. Why is she an enemy to us? Because she's played the part of a sidekick to the red Hebrew Edomite Esau in the downfall of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, through a lack of discipline, through a lack of order, through rebellion, right? To the end, the scripture says within the book of Isaiah 5 and 12, Isaiah 3 and 16, Salakia, I believe it's 3 and 16, a woman shall come past a man. She's played the sidekick to the main villain of this movie, which is the red Hebrew Edomite Esau. So she's the enemy too, right? Then she that is my enemy shall see it. Why does it say like that? Maybe you have kids with a woman. Maybe you have a situation where you've lost out because of a woman. And you know what I mean in this society when I say lose out. Like, you really lose out in this society, man. You have a kid, right? You don't get to see your kid. You have a so-called marriage, which we don't recommend you do the so-called Edomite marriage out here. You're going to lose out. You're going to lose out on funds, your livelihood, right? Men have gone from living great with 2 cars parked out the outside the house, 3-bedroom house, to living out of a box based upon a woman, okay? Based upon what a woman basically done to ruin his situation, right? So with these contracts that Esau signs over onto the women, you got to be careful, man. But she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her. We said unto her, where is the Lord thy power? Right? When they get you down on that get you down on feeling through, or like Job, when they see us and we're done, our bodies are jacked up, our minds are jacked up, and we're fighting for a particular battle or aim. That's when they say, where's the Lord thy power? Where's thy Lord thy power? Man, eyes shall behold her, and we shall see these women, man. Right? When the Most High glorifies us. To the end, the scripture says that, right? The scripture says, the word's gonna come back to me. The scripture says, it's gonna come to me. The people shall be willing in the days of thy power. And that's fundamentally the issue that we don't have. Okay? That's fundamentally the issue that we have, Salakia. The issue that we have is that we don't have no power. We don't have no power, but we got the power of understanding these scriptures, and that's going to be magnified and turned into a situation where we got power over the nations. Thus saith the book of Revelations 2:25, right? And the scripture says that my eyes shall behold her, and I shall be trodden down like the mire in the street. So right now you're allowed to be a freak, right? You're allowed to be a ghetto gagger. You're allowed to do these particular things, okay? By way of the red Hebrew Edomite Esau, you're allowed to do these particular, freaky things, right? But there's no shame with this society, right? What's gonna happen when we get power is that shame's gonna be returned back onto the world. That's part of the beauty of getting power from the Most High, okay? Part of the power that we're gonna get is returning shame back to this world. And that's why the scripture says she's gonna be trodden down like the mire in the streets. See, when a black man, I hate to put it like that, but when the Israelite men are elevated, that's a better way of putting it. When the Israelite man is elevated, you're gonna come to finding out, right, that all of that nonsense is gonna get thrown out the window, right? And what's gonna be elevated, right? A standard class, right? It's class according to the scriptures, and all of this black culture business is gonna go out the window, right? So that's the video. I didn't want to spend too much time on that. Without myself, praise unto the apostles, the great millstone. I want you to pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.